Second Persian invasion was the Battle of Thermopylae, fought in August 480 BCE. The Pass of Thermopylae, a narrow strip of land between the mountains and the sea, was chosen as the site where the Greeks would attempt to block the Persian advance. A small force of around 7,000 Greeks, led by King Leonitis I of Sparta, was sent to hold the pass. Among these soldiers were 300 elite Spartan warriors, who would become immortalized in history. For 2 days, the Greeks successfully repelled wave after wave of Persian attacks. The narrowness of the pass neutralized the Persian army's numerical advantage, and the heavily armed Greek hoplites proved superior in close-quarters combat. However, on the third day, a Greek trader named Ephialtes revealed a secret mountain path to the Persians, allowing them to outflank the Greek forces. Realizing that the battle was lost, Leonidas ordered the majority of the Greek army to retreat, while he and his 300 Spartans, along with a small contingent of Thespians and Thebans, stayed behind to fight to the death. The Spartans' heroic last stand at Thermopylae became a symbol of courage and sacrifice, inspiring the rest of Greece to continue the fight against Persia. Paris origins. The tale begins with the birth of Paris, the Prince of Troy. At his birth, a dire prophecy foretold that he would bring about the destruction of his city. In an attempt to thwart this destiny, King Priam and Queen Hecuba abandoned their son on Mount Ida, where he was raised by shepherds. Paris' early life. Unbeknownst to him, Paris grew up far from his royal roots, living as a simple shepherd. He became known for his charm, his beauty, and his skill in judging contests. This would later catch the attention of the gods themselves. 2. The Judgment of Paris, a divine dispute. Eris and the Golden Apple. At the wedding of Peleus and Thetis, the gods were gathered in celebration. However, Eris, the goddess of discord, who was not invited, tossed a golden apple among the gods. Inscribed with the words, "To the fairest," it was claimed by 3 goddesses, Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite. The bribery of Paris. Zeus, not wishing to offend any goddess, appointed Paris to judge who among them deserved the apple. Each goddess offered Paris a bribe. Hera promised power, Athena promised wisdom and victory in battle, and Aphrodite promised him the love of the most beautiful woman in the world, Helen of Sparta. Paris' choice. Swayed by the allure of Aphrodite's offer, Paris awarded the golden apple. 3. The abduction of Helen, the spark of war. Helen's marriage to Menelaus. Meanwhile, Helen, famed for her extraordinary beauty, had been married to King Menelaus of Sparta. Though she was the wife of a powerful Greek king, fate had other plans for her. Paris in Sparta. Paris, now favored by Aphrodite, journeyed to Sparta, where he was received as a guest by Menelaus. During his stay, he and Helen fell in love, driven by Aphrodite's divine intervention. When Menelaus left Sparta to attend to affairs, Paris seized the opportunity to abduct Helen and take her back to Troy. The Greek response. The Greeks saw this abduction not merely as a personal affront but as a violation of the sacred laws of hospitality. Menelaus, enraged, sought the help of his brother Agamemnon, king of Mycenae. Together, they called upon all the Greek kings and heroes to join them in a massive expedition to retrieve Helen and punish Troy. 4. The Trojan War, gods and mortals entangled. The war begins. With a fleet of 1,000 ships, the Greek forces set sail for Troy. Thus began the Trojan War, a conflict that would last for 10 years and involve some of the greatest heroes of Greek myth, including Achilles, Odysseus, and Ajax. Divine intervention. The gods themselves took sides in the war, with Aphrodite, Apollo, and Ares supporting the Trojans, while Hera, Athena, and Poseidon backed the Greeks. Their interventions often altered the course of battles, as the mortals fought with all their might. Helen's role in the war. Helen in Troy. Once in Troy, Helen was treated as both a prize and a symbol of conflict. Her presence in the city caused strife among the Trojans themselves. Some, like Paris and Priam, defended her, while others believed her presence would bring about their destruction. The Greeks' view of Helen. The Greeks, meanwhile, regarded Helen as the reason for their suffering. She became a symbol of the devastation caused by the war, though her role in the conflict was often debated. Some saw her as a victim of the gods' whims, while others blamed her for the war's horrors. 6. Key moments of the war. The duel between Paris and Menelaus. Early in the war, Paris and Menelaus faced off in single combat. Paris, though brave, was no match for Menelaus, and would have been killed if not for Aphrodite's intervention, whisking him away to safety. The death of Patroclus and Achilles' rage. As the war wore on, the Greek hero Achilles withdrew from battle after a dispute with Agamemnon. His closest companion, Patroclus, donned Achilles' armor and led the Greeks in his place but was killed by Hector, the Trojan prince. Achilles, consumed by grief and rage, returned to the battlefield, killing Hector in revenge. The fall of Troy. The war reached its climax with the use of the infamous Trojan horse. The Greeks, pretending to retreat, left a giant wooden horse outside the gates of Troy, filled with their best warriors. The Trojans, believing it to be a gift, brought the horse into the city. That night, the Greek soldiers emerged and opened the gates for the rest of their army, leading to the sack of Troy. 7. Aftermath. The legacy of Paris and Helen. The fate of Paris. Paris, though instrumental in starting the war, did not live to see its end. He was killed by Philoctetes, a Greek archer with a poisoned arrow. His death marked the beginning of the end for Troy. Helen's return to Sparta. After the fall of Troy, Helen was reunited with Menelaus, who surprisingly forgave her. The two returned to Sparta, where they lived out the rest of their lives. However, Helen's legacy remained forever tied to the war and the destruction it caused. Odysseus, king of the island of Ithaca, was renowned not only for his prowess in battle, but for his cunning and intelligence. When the call went out for the Greek kings to unite under Agamemnon to retrieve Helen and punish Troy, Odysseus hesitated. He had a new son, Telemachus, and a deep love for his wife, Penelope, and wanted to avoid the long, perilous conflict. However, Odysseus had sworn an oath years earlier, along with other Greek kings, to defend Helen's marriage to Menelaus. This oath bound him to the war effort. When emissaries from Sparta and Mycenae arrived to summon him, Odysseus pretended to be mad, plowing his fields erratically and sowing salt instead of seed. But the wise Palamedes, suspicious of the ruse, placed Telemachus, Odysseus' infant son, in front of the plow. Odysseus veered the plow aside, revealing his sanity. Reluctantly, he joined the expedition to Troy, knowing that he couldn't escape his fate. 2. The strategist's early contributions. While Odysseus was initially reluctant to join the war, once committed, he quickly became one of its most vital contributors. His wisdom, diplomacy, and tactical thinking made him indispensable to the Greek cause. When Achilles, the greatest Greek warrior, refused to fight after his dispute with Agamemnon, it was Odysseus who, along with Ajax and Phoenix, was chosen to try and persuade Achilles to return to battle. Odysseus knew that Achilles' pride was immense, so he appealed to the warrior's sense of glory and duty. Though unsuccessful in this instance, Odysseus' tact and persuasive abilities were continually relied upon throughout the war. Thank you for watching the whole video. If you find it interesting, please give me a like and subscribe to the channel.